Hello beautiful people, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchi Iman. On this channel I talk about cake business. I share tips on personal development, entrepreneurship. I do story times, tutorials, vlogs, and I share relocation tips for bakers and recipes as well. And you're welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that is very important, and these are the mistakes that you need to avoid if you are paneling fondant cakes. Yes, I decided to chip this in the midst of my relocation series so far, and I want to quickly bring this video to you. One of my beautiful subscribers requested for this video. She wanted to panel a cake and she said she had some challenges with it. So I want to share some points that you need to know and some things that you need to know that will guide you in having a seamless experience when you want to cover or panel your fondant cakes. Now, if there's something you're interested in, please keep on watching because I'll be right back. Welcome back. So the first thing I'll be talking about is this. Don't make the mistake of managing fondant, managing in quote, meaning you don't want to do too much. So for example, you want to cover an 8-inch cake that is about like 9 inches tall. You know, that's a tall cake, or 9 or 10 inches tall, or whatever the sizes or the dimensions are even, and you're not wanting to make enough fondant. First of all, you need to put this into consideration that you should have a place where you've taken note of it, whether you have it in your head, in your mind, or you have it in a book where you've written out the measurements. So for example, for an 8-inch by 7-inch tall cake, this is the amount of fondant that I'll need, probably 1.5 kg, probably 2 kg. And now this depends on the designs you're doing. So if you're doing something like ruffle effect on the body after paneling, maybe on the base of the cake, then you know you need to add more. So have an actual idea of the quantity of fondants that you'll be needing for a particular cake, and please don't manage ingredients. That's why you should charge right, and when customers pay you, you deliver well. So don't try to be hoarding ingredients. Or fondants, I want to make one cake. I know 1.5 should be well enough for this, but I think we should just make 1 kg. I think we should just make 1.1 kg. At the end of the day, you would run into issues because you're just trying to conserve, manage resources, and that won't be the best for you. So please don't manage fondant. Know what quantity you need to use and use it. Now, the second point is this: know your dimensions. So usually when I'm covering a fondant cake, especially for round cakes, what I would do first is to have or to know the height, measure it actually. So you have a tape or a measuring ruler that you're working with. So measure the height of your cake and then measure the width of your cake. So you put your tape and let it go around the cake. So you measure the height and then you measure the width. Make sure that you're measuring the exact thing so that you don't make mistakes. The third point is this: when you have measured and you've known your dimensions. So for example, I know that off the top of my head, if I can remember clearly, 8 inches cakes, when you talk about the width, you're looking around like between 25 to 27 for width, if I'm not mistaken. Now please, this is based on my own experience, and you want to measure out so you know exactly what your 8 inches is going to give you. Okay, so for me, it gives me around like 25 to 27 inches per width. Okay, for the width. And then the height, that one is something that you can easily determine by the number of layers you have on your cakes or that make up that cake. Okay, so when you have measured the height, I usually like to add extra 2 inches. This is for me. Okay, you can decide to measure exactly, but I would advise you not to, just in case something happens and it's not up to the height. That's why I like to add extra 2 to 4 or 5 inches even. So if I have the width as 25, I would add 2 to make it 27. If it happens to be 27, the width, I would add 2 to make it 29. Okay, even the one for the sides, I usually like to add it more so that it overlaps at the back. I hope you understand. You understand what I'm saying. I hope you're following me and you understand what I'm saying. Okay, and then for the top, I like to also add extra inches to the top so that I can cut flush with the cake, or cut flush with the, to the topmost layer of the cake. So I believe that you understand. So when you're measuring, don't just measure exact. I'm saying this based on what I do. Feel free to do what works for you, like I would always say on my channel, but please, this is better. I think it's better. Add extra inches so that if you're cutting, you don't have to go through the stress of wrapping all over again, or struggling with maybe it not being enough for the height or to go around your cake. So add extra inches. Number 4 is this: some of us don't put enough buttercream on our cakes. So when you are wrapping your fondant, it is not sticking to the body of the cake because there's nothing to stick onto. All right, so you're wrapping and it's falling off. You're wrapping as you're wrapping, it's just It's just opening up. It's just gliding down. It's just unwrapping and falling away. So the way to avoid it is to put enough buttercream. Like enough, when I mean enough for it to stick. I'm not saying you should overload your crumb coats with butter. You overload your cake with buttercream crumb coating. It will be too heavy and to make a mess. So just put lightly and then scrape with your scraper, so that when you put your fondant and you begin to unwrap it or you begin to place it on the cake, it sticks and it doesn't fall off. That is one thing you should know. The fifth thing that most of us don't take note of, or the mistake we make, is that we have spacing in between our layers. We have spaces in between our layers. So we're not trimming it right, or the buttercream we're putting in between is too much, such that there's a space in between the layers of your cake. I believe that you understand and you're following what I'm saying. Please, if you're gaining value, understand what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments right now. Just say valuable, I'm following, interesting. Just share your insights with me and I'll be glad to read them. So usually what I would advise, or what I would do, is that you should trim your cakes right. Okay, for buttercream, you can get away with it. You can get away with not trimming, but not with fondant cakes. Based on my experience, not with fondant cakes. For fondant cakes, you want to ensure that it's almost like this. It's closed. You're not seeing any spacing in between, because what that spacing means is that you would have your fondant going into those spaces. You're going to see it through your fondant, right? So don't do that. Don't allow spacing in between your cakes. Please, if you see my video changing, the lighting changing, going up and down, it's because of the weather. Okay, the sun and the clouds fighting. Okay, so please bear with me. But the sixth thing is that you should dowel your cakes. Now, most of us, because we feel, oh, probably it's fondant cakes, we don't put it together. So by the time you're paneling, if you have not put proper structure in place with your doweling and your crumb coating, it begins to, your layers might tend to move, or they might tend to shake. So I like to dowel them so that when I'm paneling, so that when I'm wrapping, I would not have issues. And just in case I'm yet to mention, please, paneling is the method of covering your fondant cakes that you use, whereby you cover the sides of your cake first and then you cover the top of your cake. Okay, so you are covering separately. Either you cover the sides first and then put the top, or you put the top and then you cover the sides. Anyways, they are going to be seams, but you know how to work around this. So this is what paneling is all about. Now, the seventh mistake I'll be talking about is that you should avoid using filling in your fondant cakes. I know it's a thing of personal choice. You want your cakes to be in a certain way, but personally I would advise you not to, except you know how to really work with this, right? So if you are using filling in your cakes, the tendency is that it will be sliding, just like I said in the other points. This is one thing that can make your layer slide. So you put filling in the middle, maybe caramel or the strawberry filling, or strawberry compote or blueberry compote, and then when you want to panel, you've not doweled it, and then when you want to panel, it's sliding, it's moving. If you've ever experienced this, let me know in the comments. Okay, so if you're using filling, if you happen to use filling, or you think it's something that you do, it's a standard for your business, then when it comes to fondant cakes, please, it's either you keep it to the minimum and reduce it to the barest minimum, just use a little quantity, or don't use at all. Use some other sort of filling. Okay, that's what I would say is one of the mistakes you're making when you're covering or when you try to panel your fondant cake. So just avoid it. Either you're using very little or you totally avoid it. Number 8 is this: when you're covering, especially for large cakes, if you're paneling big cakes, say like 10 inches, 12 inches, and you're not very skilled at this, please get an extra hand. Some of us want to do it alone, or we have attempted doing it alone, and then it's not easy. As you're wrapping, it's just coming off. It's coming off as you're unwrapping. So you get somebody. For big cakes like mine, when I used to do them back then, I would wrap and then get my staff to place the hand and just hold. So I would wrap and then get my staff to just, so what I would usually do would be to get my staff to hold it in place while I do the unwrapping. So they'll just hold it and try to smoothen it and make it adhere to the cake while I do the unwrapping. So if it's a big cake, please don't try doing it alone, except you're very, very skilled at this and then you have an experience with it, or you know how to manage it. But I would say get an extra hand to help you with this aspect. Now, the 9th thing, I don't know, I've lost count. I think I've lost count, is to place it flat on the cake. Okay, please help me with the number if you know it's in the comments. So place it flat on the cake and make sure that it's flat on your board. So one thing I've observed is that when you place it, if you're not skilled at this, if you're not good with it, or you don't observe or take notes, when you place it flat, when you've rolled it and you place it on your cake, it will begin to slide at the base, will begin to buckle at the base just before you start to unwrap. And if you're not observant, you're not aware, it's going to just mess up the whole process. So make sure you stand it to the side of your cake, make sure it's standing straight and it's flat on your cake before you start doing the unwrapping. I hope that you're following me and I hope that you're gaining from this video. If you are, let me know in the comments, and please don't forget to hit the like button. Hit it right away if you're yet to hit the like button, okay? So please help me hit the like button and then let me know if you're following in the comments. Now this point is very important. As you are unwrapping, or once you're done unwrapping, make sure you smoothen it out. Okay, so use your smoother and begin to work your way around the cake. Work your way around the cake. That is for the side. You do the same for the top as well. So don't take it for granted. Oh, I've wrapped my cake and that's all there is to it. No, for you to have a perfect clean finishing, you need to smoothen the body of your cake. Okay, and then for the seams, take note of this final point. For the seams, make sure that it overlaps. Let it overlap. Don't just let it meet this way. Let it overlap so that you cut through. And then for the top, once you've put the top, to close the seam, you put it upside down and then you just go in with your smoother. Okay, so these are the points that I feel you should note when it comes to paneling your fondant cakes, and I hope that it helps you and gives you a seamless process with covering your fondant cakes. Please, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. Please share your thoughts with me, and if you want to get my fondant recipe, I have it available. Just send me a mail to ibakecakes@gmail.com and I will make it readily available to you. It's available for sale, so please, if you're interested, let me know. Also, if you're here to subscribe to my channel, please click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. Okay, if you have questions, drop it right down there. Until I see you in the next video, stay happy, stay safe, and stay blessed.